I'm Marty Stauffer. Of all mammals, none are less understood or less appreciated than bats. Perhaps the misconceptions are believed because we rarely come in contact with them. Contrary to popular opinion, bats are clean, gentle, and intelligent. Using echolocation to navigate, they consume as many as 500 insects per hour, including some bothersome mosquitoes and many crop pests. Not only are bats the most important controllers of night-flying insects, they also pollinate and disperse the seeds of valuable fruits, nuts, and spices. They've suffered long enough from a bad public image. It's time to shed some light on our beneficial bats.
Some of them over 800 air miles to reach this destination that we call Carlsbad Caverns.
The most famous and most photographed bats of North America are those which populate the Carlsbad Caverns of southeastern New Mexico.
Potentially 17,000 years.
Thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats emerge from the cave entrance in a dizzying display. As the light fades, they stream out over the countryside, our only mammals which truly fly. Waves of them travel 75 miles or more to feed on night-flying insects, mostly moths. By late spring, the bats have arrived at Carlsbad, much to the delight of park visitors. They migrate 800 miles north to reach their summer home in these caves. Over 250 million years ago, an inland sea covered this area. Limestone reefs formed in the shallows near the shore. Eventually, the sea disappeared and the land was uplifted into mountains. Scientists estimate that about 60 million years ago, the cave building process began. Acidic water dissolved the limestone, hollowing out a complex network of caves, now protected within the boundaries of Carlsbad Caverns National Park. About 17,000 years ago, bats discovered these caves. A perfectly embalmed bat, encased in a stalagmite over 100 years ago, underscores the long relationship of bats and Carlsbad. Each evening from spring until fall, several hundred thousand take flight, rising in columns, then evaporating into the twilight skies. When the Mexican freetails return at dawn, they may have eaten 100% of their body weight in insects. That's 500,000 pounds of bugs.
Anywhere from 200 to 300,000 individuals that typically return to this cave every spring.
The visual display is amazing, but imagine what it must have been like earlier in this century, when the Carlsbad colony numbered nearly 9 million. Today, the caverns shelter less than 500,000, largely due to human vandalism of roosting sites. Since ancient times, bats have been portrayed in a negative manner. Throughout the centuries, artists portrayed bats as satanic, supernatural creatures. In fact, Lucifer himself regularly appeared wearing bat wings. Medieval Christians often characterized early-day spiritualists as devil worshippers. And wouldn't you know, the little devils were decked out in their bat wings. Witches engaged the fearsome creatures in their mystical rituals. Remember the witches in Macbeth and their evil potion that contained wool of bat? But myths and magic aside, the bat is a gentle, intelligent creature. One of our largest bats is the plain-nosed hoary bat. Its heavy, dark fur is tipped with white, giving it a frosty or hoary appearance. The peculiar-looking western mastiff of the Southwest is the largest American bat. Its remarkable ears droop over its face. The smallest American bat is the pipistrelle. Tinier than a hummingbird, the pipistrelle weighs less than a nickel. All of the free-tailed bats have short ears which join over the nose, giving them a pugnacious expression. The California leafnose has elf-like oversized ears and a tiny triangular flap of skin that sticks up above the nostrils. The Yuma myotis is a plain-nosed bat usually found near water. Because no fossils have ever been found of anything other than a fully formed bat, we can't be sure of how they evolved. But we do know that 60 million years ago, bats were swooping in on their legendary wings. The bat wing is a thin yet resilient membrane which resembles a bird's wing in shape. But that's where the similarity ends. While a bird's hollow bones support delicate feathers, a bat's wing is made of a thin meshwork of muscle strips covered by skin. The bones that support the wing resemble a human hand. A long arm extends out from the body, complete with the wrist. From the wrist, finger bones fan out to form the hand. A bird's wing bones, by comparison, are much simpler in design. On the bat, a tiny clawed spur, or thumb, hooks out of the top of the wrist, allowing the bat to both crawl and cling. The finger bones support the wing, something like the struts on an airplane. Not all species of bats in North America fly into the night skies to seek out insect prey. Some have an entirely different mission. In our Southwest, the endangered lesser long-nosed bats are key pollinators of the most important plants of the desert. The future of an entire desert ecosystem may rest on these important night flyers, whose specially adapted long tongues and noses allow them to feed on night-flowering cacti and agave. On hushed wings, the bats come, hovering over the beautiful blossoms, plunging their long tongues into the flower and gathering its sweet nectar. Pollen sticks to their furry faces and bodies, and as they travel and feed, they cross-pollinate the plants. Although many birds and insects visit these plants in the daylight hours, the flowers are only reproductively receptive at night. And so the long-nosed bat is the only species which ensures the future of these giants of the desert. The bats visit the night-flowering cacti in groups, hunting out the blossoms of the saguaro and organ pipe, among others. But where long-nosed bats were once abundant, only a few thousand exist today, too few to successfully pollinate every plant. If this trend continues, the situation will have far-reaching implications. Some kinds of giant cacti could be lost to future generations. And if they die out, so will the many other species of plants and animals which depend on them for food and shelter. The potential demise, then, of the long-nosed bat takes on enormous importance. Only by protecting them can we ensure the future health of the desert ecosystem. And because they spend the winter in Mexican caves, we need to protect them south of the border as well. In many cases, the key to survival depends on preserving their roost sites from human disturbance and vandalism. Another species which shares the long-nosed bat's desert home is the pallet bat. It's a late-night hunter, which prefers to catch its prey on the ground. Everything from crickets and grasshoppers to lizards and scorpions may be on the pallet bat's nightly menu. But in the case of the tarantula, the bat gives this co-hunter of the night a wide berth. The pallet bat is a fairly agile walker. Its shorter, exceptionally strong wings help it to maneuver across the desert floor. Contrary to common belief, this bat, and at least some other bat species, have excellent eyesight, allowing them to discriminate patterns even in low light levels. Unlike most bats that need to swoop down and pick up airspeed in order to gain altitude, the pallet can vault into the air to seek a new hunting location, aided by a flight membrane that makes up 80% of its body's mass. Bats may spend over 3/4 of their lives asleep. Slowing down their respiration and heart rate as they doze in a trance-like torpid state. For hanging upside down, they have a blood flow system that works in reverse to humans. And they have toes and knees which bend the opposite direction from ours. The pallet bat often roosts in rock crevices or old abandoned buildings. Some bats have even been reported roosting in a pair of boots left on a porch overnight. Suitable places to roost and rear their young are a particular problem for the Mexican free-tailed bats. Most rely on only a dozen caves in the United States, including Bracken Cave here in Texas. Over 20 million individual free-tailed bats live within the cool confines of Bracken, ranking it as the largest gathering place for mammals in the world. As many as 200 adults per square foot may crowd onto cave ceilings, mostly females, which raise their young here. After a gestation period of about 2.5 months, the pups are born. At birth, the pink pups are nearly 1/3 the weight of their mothers. Like a human female, the bat mother nurses her young at her breast. The pups are born hairless, sightless, and flightless, but not clawless. After a short time spent clinging under their mother's wings, they hang beside her in the roost. Each evening, the mother bats leave their babies to hunt. Upon returning in the morning, they not only find their pup from among the seemingly identical millions, but they remember the location of their baby to within a few inches. Both pup and mother recognize each other's voices, and the mother can confirm the identity of her offspring by scent. Less than 1/2 will survive to adulthood. Most that accidentally fall from the roost die. Accumulated bat droppings, or guano, as well as the bodies of bats, provide a rich food source for the teeming numbers of insects and other animals which live within the cave ecosystem. As the weeks pass, the young bats grow quickly, assisted only by their mothers. Now a grayish-brown, the young are almost as large as their parents. A mother bat is intolerant of a strange baby and will allow only her offspring to nurse. Even before sunset, the adult free-tailed bats begin to fly into the darkening skies. This nightly odyssey will see them consume millions of pounds of insects. In seemingly chaotic fashion, millions flow out of the cave entrance, a flurry of long, narrow wings, dancing silhouettes, spiraling upward to a height of 10,000 feet. The sound of millions of bats leaving the cave, to us humans, is just a deafening roar. But to the bats, it's a symphony in ultrasonic sound. But predator can become prey. Frequently, other hunters like owls and hawks wait for the nightly bat emergence. The same echolocation that allows the bats to catch fast-flying insects on the darkest night doesn't always allow them to outmaneuver the powerful hawk. Enter the quick kestrel, smallest of our North American falcons. Broadsiding the bat, the smaller bird succeeds on its first try. While hungry bats continue to pour from the mouth of the cave, the kestrel makes its meal of the 1/2 ounce, mouse-sized bat. Once again, the red-tail dives. And once again, it snares a bat. The sheer numbers of bats greatly increase any predator's chance of success. As the free-tailed bats spread out over the Texas countryside, the same full moon greets the California leaf-nosed bats as they begin their nightly hunt. Bats which hunt insects have the most highly developed sonar. They can truly see with sound, locating flying insects by sending out high-pitched ultrasonic pulses. The echoes that bounce back are instantly processed. Strong echoes equal large targets. Small echoes, small targets, like this moth. Once the bat has locked on, some species of moths have the ability to sense its signals, and they immediately drop from the air. Tiny differences in the echo indicate texture, shape, location, and direction of flight. A cruising bat emits about 10 per second, with up to 200 or more clicks per second when closing in on prey, at frequencies 10 times higher than our range of hearing. A cricket, on its own search for a meal, is shielded from the bat's probing echoes by the irregular shape of the cactus. When the cricket leaves its perch, the bat has no trouble deciphering its characteristics. The aerial chase only lasts a few seconds. Flying at speeds of 10 to 20 feet per second, the bat hones in on its target, scoops it up with a wingtip, and passes it into its mouth. Some bats catch up to 1,000 mosquito-sized insects an hour. Nearly half of all American bat species are endangered. An organization founded in the early 1980s called Bat Conservation International is trying to save our bats from extermination. Some species that have been evicted from their traditional roosts in caves, dead trees, and buildings can be lured to man-made substitutes. Simply constructed bat boxes with roosting compartments can shelter up to 100 individuals. If placed near a constant supply of water, we can increase our chances to attract these helpful hunters of the night. Despite what we now know about their importance to a balanced ecosystem, bats are still one of the most relentlessly persecuted animals on Earth. One way we can help ensure their survival is to erect bat boxes, like this one, in our yards and nature preserves. In return for a place to roost, bats will earn their keep by eating thousands of insects each night. You can obtain a ready-made box through several conservation organizations, or you can build one yourself. As you can see, all that's required is an open bottom and some snug compartments. By inviting them into your backyard, you'll discover the useful and fascinating habits of our beneficial bats. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America. I'm Marty Stauffer. Because of its appearance, the little shrew is often thought of as a kind of mouse. In fact, it doesn't even belong to the rodent family. Tinier than any other American mammal, the smallest shrew weighs less than a dime. It can crawl through a beetle's burrow. Some are able to swim, even walk on water, but all have one thing in common: an almost insatiable appetite. This creature is a living relic. It's thought that it is closely related to the animal from which all mammals have descended. Let's explore the life of the incredible shrew. Of all mammals in America, the shrew is the most common and the most vicious. Wolves are less savage, bears less ferocious, lions less voracious, caribou less active. Through the ages, shrews have acquired a bad reputation. Called bloodthirsty gluttons, they devour their victims, bones and all, at an alarming rate. There's not much time to groom or rest before the shrew must eat again. Some shrews hunt underwater, some in termite-infested logs. All are constantly driven by the demands of a high metabolism. How could higher primates, like the gorilla or sifaka, be related to this Asiatic tree shrew? Scientists believe that 70 million years ago, these mammals all had a common ancestor, and this shrew was the evolutionary link between them. Shrews emit what appear to be squeals of joy as they kill. Such sounds have always stimulated human imagination, but never more than in the 1959 science fiction movie, The Killer Shrews.
Fairy tale?
Well, I'm a little old for that sort of thing, but what'd you have in mind?
Well, I'll tell you about one. A true fairy tale. And you're right in the middle of it.
Oh?
Have you ever heard of a shrew?
As in taming
No,
of
the animal. Bradford called them Soar Cerisity when he showed you one.
Oh, then shrew must be the common name for those cute little animals.
Cute. That's the last word you can use to describe those little monsters. They're the most horrible animals on the face of the earth.
The wildest and most vicious of all animals is the tiny shrew. He must eat his own body weight every few hours or starve. And the shrew devours everything. Bones, flesh, marrow, everything. In March, there were reports of a new species, giant killer shrew.
Of course, Hollywood shrews are the only ones suspected of dining on people. Most real shrews went underground long ago in search of insects and earthworms. Their high-pitched squeaks are not squeals of joy, but rather radar-like sounds that bounce in a pattern and indicate the presence of predator or prey. When two shrews come into conflict over food or territory, they battle. Such encounters may lead to death and cannibalism. This time, neither shrew is hurt. In less than a month, these babies will fend for themselves. Then, instinctively, they too will follow the same ritual to establish territorial imperatives. Fortunately for the water shrew, brook trout also enact a ritual fixed in their genetic memory. In midwinter, an abundance of eggs is laid and fertilized. The eggs gleam like a cache of rare pearls, while inside, cells divide and divide again. From the beginning of time, water has signaled a dependable source of food, where the hungry are certain to gather. No animal gets hungrier than the shrew. The water shrew has developed a remarkable capacity for searching out prey beneath the surface. Its rudder-like tail steers between rocks. Bristle-like hairs line the feet for a quick getaway. Down-like fur prevents water from touching its body. Were it not for this insulation, the water shrew would die of cold. No other mammal loses heat at a faster rate. Without capacity for storing fat, a shrew can go only a few hours without food before starving to death. Dive after dive, the shrew continues its search for young trout. If you had to eat as much as a shrew does to stay alive, you would consume 2 pigs, 30 chickens, 300 eggs, 50 pears, 3 pineapples, and 20 candy bars every day. It's survival, not greed, that dictates the lifestyle. The shrew is not the only animal aware of the young fish. A water ouzel shares both the shrew's taste for trout and also its hunting technique. Baby trout are a powerful lure for both shrew and ouzel. But a full-grown otter seems more inclined to want a full-grown dinner. And at the very top of the food chain, the largest carnivore in the world, the size of 150,000 shrews, needs the largest fish it can catch. For the short-tailed shrew of America's southeastern forests, survival means chemical warfare. Full grown, this shrew weighs only 8 grams, a little more than a quarter. The courage to attack a deer mouse several times its size is bolstered by the shrew's poisonous bite. An unguarded moment, a quick nip on the tail, and the outcome is set. The short-tailed shrew's venom is similar to that of a cobra. It numbs the victim quickly to a dazed state, enabling the shrew to inflict a painless death. In life's endless cycle, one creature's exit is often little more than a cue for another's entrance. The shrew's exceptionally fast pulse and metabolic rate have long been known. My brother, Mark Stauffer, supervises an electrocardiogram which provides dramatic proof. Over 1,000 beats per minute, the shrew will burn out in less than a year. This is a human readout. This is the shrew's. Following the experiment, Mark releases the shrew back into its woodland home. It takes a lot to stoke the shrew's tiny furnace, and its favorite fuel is man's ancient enemy, the insect. A colony of destructive termites can turn our proudest buildings to sawdust. living protozoa in the termite's digestive system break down otherwise indigestible wood cellules, turning them into food. The shrew reminds us that man has living allies equipped by nature to control insect hordes, perhaps more efficiently and safely than insecticides. Half a world away, in Africa, are some amazing relatives of America's shrews. The African hero shrew forages through rock slides for its insect supply, thanks to a back that can bear 160 pounds. The African elephant shrew is not a true shrew, though the facial resemblance is undeniable. Luckily for the sand cat stalking it, neither is it a true elephant. To the sand cat, the shrew's origin is far less interesting than its destination. Among the ranks of the world's greatest predator, there are those who openly declare that a hunter is no hunter at all without having bagged the animals known in Africa as the Big Five. In America, their targets include wolves, big cats, in fact, any animal large enough or dangerous enough to make humans imagine themselves heroes for hunting them. It is not surprising that among the most endangered species in the world are the 10 largest. In a world where giants are targets, it may be far better to be small and alive. So small that dandelions look like exotic trees, pine cones like scales on a dinosaur, fruits, leaves, and flowers magnified botanical giants. And where a threatening badger seems as large as an elephant. A fugitive mouse blundering into the shrew's underground home does not find refuge, but a snapping ball of fur, driving it steadily back toward the surface. No way of knowing that a quick retreat leads only to sudden death. While high above, another sharp-eyed observer waits for its chance at the nearly sightless shrew. The moon exerts its mysterious and eternal power over the vastness of our water. It controls the ebb and flow of tides. If we feel connected with these rolling depths, it's because the percentage of salt in our blood is exactly the same. No one felt the ebb and flow of the tide within more strongly than the poet Langdon Smith.
When you were a tadpole and I was a fish in the Paleozoic time, and side by side on the ebbing tide, we sprawled through the ooze and slime. The eons came and the eons fled, and the sleep that wrapped us fast was riven away in a newer day, and the night of death was past. Thus, life by life and love by love, we passed through the cycles strange, and breath by breath and death by death, we followed the chain of change.
In that chain of change, some mammals found the sea more hospitable than land. It's hard to imagine that the largest animal ever to live on Earth, the 150-ton blue whale, shares a common ancestor with the shrew. This present-day shrew most closely resembles that 200-million-year-old common ancestor, the first mammal. One must only glance at the mammalian family tree to see the rich variety of life the line has produced. Though differing greatly in appearance, all are air-breathing. Even ocean mammals, like whales and seals, have in common hair, live birth, and of course, mammary glands, from which the family takes its name. The mammals which fascinate us most are the primates. Man and non-human primates are closely related. Both share similarities of blood and cell structure. Both share tremendous brain growth and highly developed stereoscopic vision, and both have the ability to grasp with an opposing thumb. In its native African forest, the gorilla is one of 4 animals comprising the ape family. Others are the orangutan of Borneo, the gibbon of Asia, a supreme acrobat, able to grasp with both hands and feet, and the African chimpanzee. Second to man, monkeys are the most successful of primates. Physically smaller than great apes, they represent an earlier, less specialized phase in the line. Successful tree living, coupled with remarkable adaptability to food sources, has led to an enormous variety of species. One needn't be a scientist to feel a thrill of recognition when seeing the miniature hands of a tarsier. These small creatures belong to the prosimians, the most primitive of all primates. Another nocturnal prosimian is the captivating bush baby of Central Africa. It shares with its larger relative, the greater galago, an ability to grasp and to perceive a 3-dimensional world. Off the coast of Mozambique lies the exotic island of Madagascar, home of the seldom seen sifaka. Madagascar is the last refuge for some of our rarest and most endangered primates, a group of prosimians found nowhere else on Earth. Named by natives for their unmistakable cry, the sifaka is only one member of a group known as lemurs. Lemurs come in a seemingly endless variety of color and size. The Latin word lemur means ghost, and considering the lemurs' dwindling numbers, ghosts they may soon become. For on the island of Madagascar, the product of over 50 million years of lemur evolution is being wiped out in but a millisecond of geologic time. Man-made fires to clear land for agriculture have destroyed most of the native forest and over 90% of the lemur population. In the tropical forest of Southeast Asia, the Asiatic tree shrew is lured from the safety of branches to search for food on the ground. In an instant, the hunter becomes the hunted. The shrew's sudden death on the ground may explain why some primates stayed in trees. 200 million years ago, the Earth still trembled to the tread of the mighty dinosaur. But after a 100 million year reign, the age of the giants was finally coming to an end. 70 million years ago, vast climatic changes brought the tropical rainforest of Earth to full flower. The climate changed, but the dinosaurs did not, and the mighty giants came to extinction. As they left, one small shrew-like creature entered upon the scene, destined to evolve into the first primate. It's a long way through the ages, and the chain of change is felt throughout. Thumbs appeared, bones changed, brains became larger, vision improved. Finally, a creature that walked upright on two legs. Did man also evolve this way, as most scientists believe? Or did we emerge from underground, or fall from the sky, according to Native American legend? Were we created exactly as we are in the Garden of Eden? Or did we arrive fully human from elsewhere in the universe? Regardless of how we came to be here, our varied understandings only point beyond our limited knowledge toward a far greater universal power of which all things are a part. From the tiniest of all mammals, the shrew, up through the chain to the most advanced primate, the touch of this Creator is clearly upon all creation. Every living species is the product of millions of years of evolutionary change. To remove a single living form from the chain brings an end to untold future generations. Did we humans have shrew-like ancestors 70 million years ago? Well, no one knows. But we do know that because this tiny mammal has endured, we are at least given a hint of where we may have come from and where we may be going. All thanks to the incredible shrew. I'm Marty Stauffer. Until next time, enjoy our wild America.